Tonight, the Democratic candidates for mayor of New York City will square off in a debate for the first time. The 8 major hopefuls seeking to take over City Hall have just 6 weeks to make their case to the nearly 4 million registered Democrats in New York. The city is using ranked choice voting for the first time, so each will seek to broaden his or her appeal while tightening their base. The latest poll shows entrepreneur Andrew Yang and Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams in front. They have led every single poll since the campaign began, but each has also faced intense scrutiny in the last few weeks. And another candidate may be surging, former Sanitation Commissioner Kathryn Garcia. She received the coveted New York Times endorsement earlier this week. The paper called her the candidate with the, quote, temperament and experience to get New York back on its feet. For more on the mayoral race, I want to bring in Alyssa Katz. She's deputy editor of The City, which is co-hosting tonight's debate. Alyssa, welcome. It's great to have you with us. So
thank you.
I want to talk about Kathryn Garcia because her campaign says it received the largest single day of fundraising after that Times endorsement. How much weight does an endorsement like that hold for the mayor's race? And do you see her making a late-stage surge with a month and a half to go?
Yeah, so, the New York Times endorsement is not always decisive, right? For instance, when Mayor de Blasio was elected in 2013, the Times had, in fact, endorsed Christine Quinn, who for a long time was seen as the front runner in the race. And so in that instance, the Times was really kind of throwing its weight behind Quinn when she was expected to win anyway and then didn't. In this case, it's really different for Kathryn Garcia because, as you just showed, she's been polling in low numbers because she's not a professional politician. She's not somebody who's been having news conferences every week or every day, as other candidates have had or been in the public eye, like Andrew Yang from his presidential run. She's been someone who's simply been a public servant and, by all accounts, an effective one. So I think for Garcia, this endorsement makes a big difference because suddenly people who had not been considering her or said they didn't know enough about her are saying they're considering her. And, what she is offering is, her message is very much that, that she's the kind of practical, effective public servant who understands how government works, which is both a way of kind of jabbing back at Andrew Yang, who hasn't even voted in local elections, as well as other candidates who are more ideological in their outlook. And she's saying, well, it's good to have progressive values, but first you have to literally pick up the trash and do other city service as well, and also help the city recover from the coronavirus.
Yeah, and talking about the frontrunners right now, of course, Yang is facing criticism for his recent comments on Israel and Palestine, as well as having a somewhat more tenuous link to the city itself. Adams is receiving criticism as well for his past as a Republican. And of course, as we know, Scott Stringer is accused of sexual misconduct. And yet they are all still topping most of the polls. Based on your reporting, have any of these various controversies hurt them among voters or made them at all vulnerable in this race?
It's been very interesting. And first of all, we have very limited polling information for various reasons this time around. So we have to keep that in mind as well. But I do think that, what we've seen so far is that the candidates who had the highest name recognition to begin with, for the kinds of reasons I had mentioned around their existing platforms, have really retained that recognition, and the coverage has only served to seemingly kind of keep them in circulation as names. And I think that's all the more important because for the first time in a citywide race, New York City is going to be using what's called ranked choice voting, where voters are going to be selecting up to 5 candidates on the ballot. And that kind of system really rewards name recognition because even if someone is not, a candidate is not a voter's first or second choice, they still could be on that ballot somewhere. And as candidates get eliminated, their supporters' ballots get reallocated to the remaining candidates. And what this means is even if Yang, for example, doesn't get majority of first place votes, he may be on so many people's ballots that when they get rolled up in the count, Yang just gets put over the top that way. And it could happen to any candidate, but with the more name recognition you have, the likelier that is to happen.
It's really interesting, this ranked choice, technique that they're using this time around. I'm not sure that a lot of New Yorkers quite even understand how it works, so that was helpful. What are the primary issues of interest to New Yorkers, this time around? Obviously, the city is recovering from a pandemic. Obviously, that's something that they're going to be asked about tonight, but what specifically are you looking for in tonight's debate?
So, and I want to give a disclaimer first. Nothing I am saying should suggest any, that anything I'm saying is or is not a topic tonight that candidates will be asked.
Sure.
But speaking to your question of what is on voters' minds, I mean, one thing that has to be mentioned, of course, is just, the shooting in Times Square that injured 3 people, including a 4-year-old girl last week, I think is very much on people's minds, and in the context of a real surge in shootings citywide that is really affecting neighborhoods that haven't seen shootings in a while, and certainly in neighborhoods that have been the scene of gun violence. And so I think that's very much going to be an issue in sort of the larger context of public safety, and also, of course, in the context of the policing reforms that were so powerfully demanded in the George Floyd protests last year. We really do have this moment where leaders are trying to solve for both problems of racial injustice in policing and in rising crime rates. And how the candidates respond to that is going to be something I think a lot of voters are watching carefully. I think other issues are going to include, that people care about, include school reopenings, because Mayor de Blasio says schools have reopened after the coronavirus, but many students have either no in-person instruction at all, or have part-time instruction. And families are very fearful and concerned about what comes next. What does the fall look like? What does the future look like? So I think those are issues that folks care about. But there's certainly plenty of others as well.
All right, well, Alyssa Katz, thank you so much for joining us, and good luck with tonight's debate. We will certainly be watching. Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you so much. Take care.